Hello, everyone. My name is Callum, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to wrap any bash commands or CLIs that we want into tools that our LLM agent can use through an AutoMCP server when we use AutoMCP to build this MCP server. So today what we're going to build is we're going to build an MCP server that provides access to Ollama through the Ollama CLI to our LLM agent, which will be Claude Code. Let's get started. Now, the first step whenever you're building an MCP server with AutoMCP is to develop the MCP file, which is a YAML file. I've already written one ahead of time, so let's take a look at what we have. So I'm going to open up the Ollama CLI.yaml file, which is our MCP file. Now, our MCP file can have one or more MCP servers defined inside it. Today, we have one called Ollama, and it is going to be running using streamable HTTP on port 7008. We need to remember this so that later we can use this to connect to our MCP file. Now, each server is going to have a set of tools which it can call. Um, for example, we have this start Ollama tool, and start Ollama does what it says. It starts Ollama. And for each of these tools, we can give extra information, such as a description. In our case, we're saying only run this if Ollama has not already started, and to use check Ollama running to see if Ollama has started. So this will be able to give the agent more context in terms of how to use these tools correctly. Let's take a look at a more complicated tool to see some more things that we can do. So this tool is called generate completion, and it is used to generate a completion for Ollama. And this tool has two input properties. First of all, the model, which model we want to use for the completion, as well as the prompt, which is the prompt we're going to give to the model. Now, for every tool, we then have an invocation section. This is telling AutoMCP when the MCP client, which is normally an LLM agent, such as Cloud Code, invokes this tool, how are you going to call it? How are you going to invoke it yourself? So this is a CLI tool, and it has this command, Ollama run, the name of the model, and then the prompt. And this is just a template of string. You can write whatever you need to put here, and that's run as a bash command. Now, for each of these variables, we can actually template them and give more information on how to format them. So for the prompt variable, we want double quotes. So for our format string, we're going to put double quotes around that. This feature is really great if we want to template out some options such as dash dash key and then space in the value, or maybe it's dash dash key equals value. And you'd think that might be consistent across one command, but a lot of commands actually mix and match the two of them. So in our case, we're great. We're good to go. We have all of our commands listed here. They're all defined well. So what's next? Well, we want to use AutoMCP to actually run an MCP server from this file. To do this, we type AutoMCP run. We're going to say dash D, so we're going to detach this in the background. And then dash F, we're going to specify which file, which is going to be ollamacli.yaml. So we've run this, we can see it successfully started the AutoMCP server. Great. So now we need to give Claude Code access to this to be able to use these tools. So first of all, let's just see if we have any MCP servers yet. So we don't have any MCP servers configured. Great. Let's add our MCP server. We're going to do quad MCP add. Then we have to specify which transport protocol. If you remember from our MCP file, we said we're using HTTP. Then we have to give a name for this server. We're going to call it Ollama. And then we have to say where the URL is. So this is HTTP. If you remember our file, it's on 7008 as the port, and then slash MCP. And I need to type add correctly for that to work. Still need to type add correctly. There we go. And if I do quad MCP list, we can see it's now connected to the Ollama server. So now I can type Claude and open Claude Code, and I can say, ask Mistral, what is the meaning, life, the universe, and everything. And we should see this using Ollama to actually ask Mistral this question. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to see, is Ollama running? And it's going to see, okay, Ollama was not running. I hadn't started it before this. So now it's going to say, let's start Ollama. Great. So Ollama's not running, so we can see which models Ollama has access to. And Mr. Lids has already been pulled earlier. So it's going to just call Ollama to generate that with Mr. Latest. Let's give it a couple seconds because this is running on the GPU in the background. And we get an answer from Ollama. Great. And now Claude's going to summarize this and let us know the answer. Perfect. We have an answer from Mistral. And as easy as that, we're able to give Claude access to the Ollama CLI just by writing a small YAML file describing all of the commands we want to use, as well as how to invoke those through Bash.